This was Shithouse! By the way, it's becoming too much trouble to constantly be redrawing this character, so this is the best you're getting.
I was a slave until I died. Then I was reborn a god. My son sacrificed his life to save me. Open fire! Now, I kneel before no one.
My beloved DC. What have they done to you? It's been 10 years since Warner Brothers tried to catch up to the moneymaker machine that is the MCU. Which means that it's been 10 years of just terrible fucking decisions. And like a goddamn fool, every time I hear them say that they are course correcting and taking things in a whole new direction, I stupidly believe them. So I keep going to see these films portraying all of these characters that mean the world to me, and I constantly come out being let down, disappointed, and generally upset. I feel like Daffy Duck in that old Robin Hood parody of his, constantly jumping out of trees to swing majestically, only to be smashed in the face by the next tree to come along. Which leads us to Black Adam, the latest sorry excuse for what passes as entertainment from whoever the current ruling body of Warner Brothers is right now. Thanks to the constant changing of ownership and the massive reshuffling inside that company, it was announced that WB only had the money to release 2 of their currently completed films before the end of 2022. The rest all being shuffled back to 2023 release dates. And the 2 that they went with were this one and Don't Worry Darling. Oh, that company is so fucked. Black Adam sees Dwayne I'm in fucking everything now Johnson playing the titular character. The story starts many moons ago in the year 2600 BC. In the Middle Eastern country of Kahndaq, which I believe in the native tongue means no one in the 1940s had access to an atlas, a tyrannical king creates the Crown of MacGuffin. Sorry, Sabak. For, I don't know, comic book reasons. At the same time, a slave named Teth Adam is experiencing his superhero origin. Which is just Shazam again, but dustier. Actually, I'm not calling him Shazam anymore. His name is Captain Marvel, and he shall be referred to as such from now on. He got there first anyway. Brie Larson can eat a bag of dicks. Teth Adam uses his angry sparkle fingers to kill the tyrannical king before he can put on the evil magic crown. And because he was a little bit angry and over the top about it, the wizards who gave Adam his powers banish and imprison him. Because apparently there are no takebacks on magical superpowers. He gets revived in modern Kahndaq and starts breaking exactly the right things for the oppressed citizenry to love having him there. For some reason, the Justice Society, that's Society, not League, I don't think anyone is going to touch those guys again just yet, they show up, reenact on a smaller scale some of the more memorable aspects of the George W. administration, all while we kill time waiting for the meaningless CG slugfest at the end. Okay, this movie just sucks. We're not talking Suicide Squad or even Catwoman levels of suck, but it is really bad. Which is a shame because there were a bunch of things in here I really liked. Over the last decade or two, I've lost all track of time since the 2000s if I'm being honest, the comic book version of Black Adam has undergone some serious updating and development. Where he once was just Captain Marvel but with Spock ears and a nastier disposition, writers like Jeff Johns have done a lot to make the character a lot more three-dimensional and layered. They gave him a much darker origin, gave him some decent real-world motivations, and managed to turn him into more of an anti-hero, rather than a copycat supervillain. And they do try to translate a lot of that in the film, but they've had to PG it up so as not to taint the image of The Rock. I guess the version of his origin where he murders his nephew and steals his powers probably doesn't work too well in a Lego set. Now, I just want to get something straight here. I really like Dwayne Johnson. I do think he has some chops as an actor. And by all accounts, he seems like a pretty decent guy. But oh god, I'm sick to death of seeing him in things. When his casting was originally announced as Black Adam, I thought it was a great choice and a perfect fit. But that was something like 16 years ago. And in the meantime, Dwayne's become the biggest box office drawer in the world. So he constantly shows up in movie after movie after movie. And he's mostly just playing the same character in all of them. That's not on him. It's the filmmakers and the studios who are cookie cutting him. But he appears to be cinema's #1 draw card now. So nervous studios are putting him in everything. Heck, the only reason he hasn't appeared in a Marvel movie yet, even though Disney have offered to throw truckloads of cash his way, is because he had a contractual obligation to play this character. So it was nice to see him trying to break the mold somewhat and do something different here. But at the same time, you have to go with what sells. So it's not that much of a departure. Hey, at least that eyebrow of his never moves. But as I said, none of the problems with this film fall at his feet. Or any of the actors involved for that matter. All of the problems stem from the story and the filmmakers. One thing I have liked about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that they have made great strides in making sure that theirs was a contained set of stories. Having read the comics makes all the little inclusions and name drops a lot more fun, but the average viewer can follow the story and not feel bogged down in years of published history. DC seems to have done the complete opposite. Their films seem insistent on the assumptions that you have already read the comics, so why bother with any sort of introductions? Take the use of the Justice Society, for example. Black Adam causes some explosive shenanigans, and Amanda Waller, first introduced in the horrible Suicide Squad movie, and most recently seen in the brilliant Peacemaker series, simply calls up the Justice Society to go and take care of it. And the movie acts like they've been around this whole time, and everyone should be completely familiar with them. You almost feel like you missed the CW shows that all these characters were introduced in. And quite frankly, having the Justice Society get involved in the story just because Waller told them to is lazy storytelling at its worst. They don't even have any real conflict with Adam. They just get in a fight cause scary boss lady said so, which made no damn sense at all. On the flip side, using the Society's involvement as a critique on America's proclivity to only get involved in world affairs when it benefits them was an interesting idea. It was handled terribly, but points to them for trying. And while I'm at it, I really liked all the actors playing the Society members. Pierce Brosnan was a great choice for Dr. Fate. Any problems I might have had with Aldous Hodges Hawkman are solely script-based. He works really hard to make his nonsensical story beats work. And the two younger heroes, Cyclone and Atom Smasher, do a lot with a little, showing some great chemistry and character moments. Oh, and all the suits look great. I'd talk more about the action scenes and the storyline, but I'm running out of new ways to say it's bad. It just seems like every time the filmmakers had a choice to make in regards to this film, they made the worst one. And then there is the inevitable pointless CG villain fight at the end, which has not worked once in all of the films in the long, sad, sorry experiment that is the DCEU. This time around, it's a character called Sabak, a big red devil looking thing that makes a great action figure but a lousy third act. The one moment I was looking forward to the most is also fucking terrible, and that was the mid-credits return of Henry Cavill to the role of Superman. I was thrilled to see him back in the suit again, but I was also just screaming to get out of the cinema by this point. So yeah, the film is truly shit. It's not the fault of a single actor involved, as they all give it everything. But it is a shame to see all that effort wasted on garbage like this. I really hope the involvement of James Gunn and Peter Safran turns things around before any more of these characters set foot on the silver screen again. That said, we still have to get through Aquaman 2 and, God help us, The Flash next year. But now that I've gotten all of my aging fanboy ranting out of the way, here's the thing. As bored as I was, and as much as I was begging for this movie to end, seriously, I haven't been in that much of a hurry to get out of a cinema since La La Land, there were some younger kids in the audience that were thrilled by both the film and the character. They were happily holding up the triangle hand symbol that Black Adam supporters used in the film. And I hope I'm phrasing this properly, but the lineage of those kids had a lot more in common with Dwayne Johnson's than it does with mine. They got to see faces like theirs portrayed as the good guys and the victors, fighting off oppressors and villains that, I'll be honest here, looked more like me. And I think those kids getting to have that cinematic moment is way more important than appeasing some grumpy old comic geek like me. So what did I think? I hated it. I thought it was terrible. And I'll probably never see it again. But I truly, truly hope that the character returns and has more cinematic adventures. Because I got to have my Superman growing up. And those kids, and others like them, deserve to have theirs as well.